Season 2, Episode 3 of House of the Dragon. The title is The Burning Mill. And it opens in disputed Bracken and Blackwood lands. We start off with the Blackwoods and the Brackens arguing over the boundaries. You hear the Blackwoods say, move the boundary stones back. And the Bracken is like, hey, we're just trying to feed our cows. The Blackwood says Bracken cows getting fat on Blackwood grass. It's really just petty stuff. Like let the cows eat stupid grass, get your stupid cows off their land. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. To be honest, the Blackwoods and the Brackens, they just hate each other. In the Game of Thrones universe, they have a blood feud. Like they've been feuding since the beginning of the time. Like they got it's multi-generational beef at this point. And the Blackwoods and the Brackens, then they start hurling insults. And at this point, these two people who we're seeing, all of the people are teenagers. So they're like 16 to maybe 20. So they're not very bright. They're ready to fight, and they just hurling insults. They young, they ready to go to war. So they throw insults at each other, talking about their respectful king and queen. The Blackwoods talk about Aegon being a usurper, and the Brackens talked about Rhaenyra being a babe killer. So it's really just getting nasty. They calling names, and after that, the Bracken draws his blade, and the Blackwood says, "You wouldn't dare." And as that happened, the scene cut to the Bracken boy laying down dead with a sword in his neck. That had to be the most shocking to see it go from them just talking and insulting each other to bodies on the ground, because as it zoomed out, it's literally Blackwood and Brackens alike. The bodies just littering the floor. It's bodies, him, her, him. It was just, yikes. There was a lot of people, and they're dead. So it's not only, even if somebody won, everybody lost, because there had to be crazy death tolls. I know the Riverlands are crazy, but after that battle, everybody's just gonna die. That's what I'm getting. So after we leave the Burning Mill, that's what they named the title. That was the Battle of the Burning Mill, where you saw the aftermath of, because in the scene, it was literally a windmill and it was on fire. So after this, we're in Dragonstone, and we see Sir Eric and Arik being buried. And you see how graceful of a queen Rhaenyra is, because me personally, I wouldn't have let the twins be buried together. But she knew that that's probably what the twins wanted. I would have thrown Sir Eric's body into the sea. He would have been out there with the Valerian mama, because he wouldn't have got a proper funeral messing around with me. You came in here to my castle trying to kill me in my room, and you think I'm finna give you a proper burial? Not happening. And during the funeral, Jace is mad, but he's serving face the whole time. Jace this season, these last 3 episodes, Jace has done nothing but stand around and serve face. I'm actually waiting for him to become important. He is important because he's the heir, but he doesn't do anything important besides, he went to the north, but now I'm waiting for him to do something else, because he's just been standing around. And then Rhaenys is smart, because she not only do she know the tea, but she gonna clock the tea all the time. It don't matter if anybody gonna clock the tea, it's Rhaenys. Because she knew that Otto was too smart to send Sir Eric by himself. She knew that it had to be Kristen or one of those younger idiots on the Greens that came up with that plan. So, and she was like, and you really don't even know when the war started. Was it when Luce died? Was it when they gouged Aemon's eye out? Was it when Aegon usurped the throne? Was it when the baby was beheaded? Like, truly, when did the war start? And you can answer that several many ways. I argue that the war started when it was in season 1, when Rhaenyra proposed that Jace and Helena get married, because that would have just fixed everything, right? But Alicent didn't want to marry Helena to one of Rhaenyra's plainly featured children, when, to be honest, Jace got a face for the gods and Aegon looks like a ogre. He looks like an ogre. He want Rhaenyra to get out of his swamp. I don't like Aegon. Not only, and it's not, Aegon is not very cunty. He's not pretty to look at. He's not smart. He's not entertaining. So, like, what's his point? No, he is entertaining. That's a lie. Aegon is funny. He's there to be funny. But he's not cunt like Alicent. He's not cunt like Rhaenyra. He's not cunt like Helena. He's not cunt like Jace. He's not cunt like everybody in House of Dragons, to be honest, is cunt except for Aegon. And that's a little pathetic, because he's a pretender usurper king, dressing up in Aegon the Conqueror ill-fitted uniform. I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest. So we cut back to King's Landing, and Sir Criston Cole, I just hate looking at his face. Every time I see his face, it's just like this annoying, degrading voice in the background, and that's what I get when I see his face and I get itchy. But that Hand of the King necklace, that's hot. That's tea. That's cunty hunty. Yes. So the Hand of the King late to the small council. We're back in King's Landing now, if I didn't say that. And they're doing their usual bickering. You know, the whole administration is washed when Alicent is the smartest person on it. So the overview of what happened at the small council was, they talked about the Battle of the Burning Mill, how it was the Brackens who attacked the Blackwoods, like that's what started the Burning Mill, and that the Lord Blackwood was slain, not the boy we saw, but I'm guessing his father or uncle. And then that Lannister guy who's always getting punked out, why was he being mean to the Grand Maester? Like, that was the only time he had some backbone, was when he can pick on the Grand Maester, asking about where your link that says you some great war mind. If you don't sit down and shut up like you've been doing, go find that baby and go get him some horseback rides. Like, go leave me alone. You know what I mean? I fear the Lannisters been terrible for generation. And then Criston Cole, he is so dumb. He think he finna go all the way up the King's, what is that place called? The Crown Lands. He thinks he's finna go all the way through the Crown Lands with his small little host of people. He think that, like, I know it's a House of the Dragon and everybody has dragons, but if everybody has dragons, everybody just can't send their dragons out, because then all of your dragons are literally going to die. Like, nobody was thinking. They're all so dumb, especially not Criston. And especially because he still got this chip on his shoulder, like the gods favor, or the fortune favors the bold. And Alicent, again, being the smartest one on the council, saying it didn't favor Sir Eric, because it didn't. Fortune may favor the bold, but you can't be bold and dumb. Criston's bold and dumb. And Aegon, he wanna ride his dragon so he can show the people that I'm as fearsome as any of them. That's what he said. And to be honest, that just cued Tywin in my head when he wanted anybody who has to say I'm a king is no king. Anybody who has to say I'm fearsome isn't fearsome. Fearsome people just be fearsome. I don't gotta say I'm fearsome. They just be fearsome. They evoke fear. So if Aegon want to be fearsome, he needs to shut up, stop looking like an ogre, and be scary like his brother. His brother a little fearsome. Maybe if his brother want to punk, though. So truly, who's fearsome on the greens? So we're back at Dragonstone, and I need to figure out this lady's name. But Rhaenyra and the Spider Lady, they're chatting. The Spider Lady wants a place in court. I think Rhaenyra's gonna make her the Master of Whisperers, and Rhaenyra plans on sending Rhaena to Pentos, back where her mother died. That's where Rhaena's mother died, in Pentos, which is kind of sick and twisted because Rhaena, she doesn't have a dragon, so she feels like she's being pushed out of the way. But good sis, Rhaena is called House of the Dragon, and you dragonless. Looks to the left, looks to the right. What's your point here? But Rhaenyra, being a good queen, she entrusted Rhaena with the heirs of the Targaryen lineage. So basically, all of Rhaenyra kids, excluding Jace, is going with Rhaena to Pentos, or I think they're going to the Vale. To be honest, I was zoning in and out. I don't really know what's happening, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to that to unfold. But yeah, Rhaena, she entrusting you with the Targaryen babies, with the Targaryen dragon eggs. It's 4 dragon eggs and a couple babies. So you warden over the future. You can make Targaryen whatever you want it to be, Rhaena, because you got the keys to the kingdom. And after this, we're in Harrenhal, and Harrenhal kind of tripped me out because Daemon pulls up on his dragon. He just lands at the top, and he just walks through it. Now, Harrenhal is a huge castle. It's kind of spooky-ooky. It gives a little spooky core. Um, so he kind of just slinks through the castle with his sword out. He was scared out of his mind. But you know what? I'd be scared. I'd be scared too, because everybody talks about how powerful Harrenhal is, and he's sneaking in there by himself like an idiot, like Sir Eric did. But I fear the difference between Sir Eric and Daemon is one's going to survive and one doesn't, or one survived going in the castle by themselves and the other one didn't, because as Daemon was slinking through the castle, he eventually finds a guard, and the guard was standing outside of the dining hall. So he kills the guard, busts through the doors, and like, I'm claiming Harrenhal. And it's a couple people at the table, and they're kind of just like, okay. So the Castellan, his name, I guess he's one of Larys's cousins, and he just kneeled down and like, I swear fealty to Rhaenyra Targaryen, first of her name, the rightful queen of the Andals, and the first man, and titles. And what's so funny to me is that truly nobody seemed to care about the fact that he was there. They just wanted to eat. Now I'm gonna say this: the Castellan Strong, he was a big bat. He was looking like Daemon was really disturbing him. He was trying to get some of that venison. He was ready. He was egged in on that venison. And Daemon come in talking about, I'm claiming Harrenhal. Hey, you can claim Harrenhal. I'm finna claim this soup. All right. And so Damon's trying to make sure that he really has a foothold and that the Harrenhal is secure. So he's asking questions like, so, oh, do you still have loyalty to Larys the Clubfoot? And the Castellan, the Strongs, I'm guessing the Strongs don't like Larys, because who does like Larys? He's so creepy, he's so weird, he's so odd. And there's nothing wrong with being creepy, weird, and odd. He's just creepy, weird, and odd in an unfun way. So the Castellan basically says that Lord Larys is no lord of his. He's a scourge on the family. That's what he said, that Larys Clubfoot is a scourge on the Strong family. So that shows everything we really need to see with Larys, because Larys may have power in King's Landing. He might have killed his brother and his father. However, nobody really likes him. And we're circling back to Daemon. Daemon got called my prince, which he is. That's his title. But he corrected him and said your grace. But Damon's title is not your grace. Damon wants more power than he has, and we have to realize Damon is just some nigga that got kicked out his baby mama crib, so he had to go find somewhere else to stay. Right. So we're back to King's Landing, and Kristen is ready to ride off to battle. We see all the knights on their horses getting ready to go, and we meet Sir Gawain Hightower, Alicent's brother, and Otto produced 2 LGBTQ plus IA LGBT children. House of Dragon is so gay. I don't know how they made this show gayer than Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones really wasn't that gay, but this show is gay. Rhaenyra and Alicent, they're lovers. That Valerian who was married to Rhaenyra, I can't think of his name, Laenor, gay. Who else? I think them the Bracken and the Blackwoods, they was a little. They weren't really. Sometimes it may be a generational beef, but they was beefing because they was boyfriends. So, House of the Dragon is gay. We see Gawain ride. Gawain wants to ride to battle, and Kristen's like, "Oh, our party's kind of full." And Alicent goes, "You're gonna make it fuller," flexing her powers as the Queen Mother, Queen Dowager. I don't know the actual title. And then, so she made Kristen let Gawain come on the trip. And then Alicent gave Kristen her favor after he asked for it. But she kind of didn't look like she wanted to give him her favor. She grabbed a little nasty handkerchief out her bra and handed it to him. But the red hair and the green dress on Alicent, they just give me ogre, like Fiona from Shrek, so bad. Like every time the greens are just so ogre, so Shrek coded, and I think that's hilarious. So we're back at Dragonstone, and on my notes it says everyone thinks they can just send dragons to win, like everyone doesn't have dragons, and that's the biggest takeaway I'm getting from both of these war councils. Now I will say this: while they both do have dragons, whoever would have attacked first and more devastatingly with their dragons is probably going to win. And I'm gonna hold that thought. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Rhaenys got a nasty side eye. She be side eyeing everybody down. She kind of be keeping everybody in check too, because they be arguing, they be bickering. I can't stand these small councils. Both small councils kind of suck respectfully. They both suck. And it's embarrassing because these niggas are asking about Damon. Like, where's Damon? Have we got any letters from him? Rhaenyra looking like a neglected or neglectful wife and don't know nothing where he at or how long it's gonna take him to do anything, because truly though, Damon does what he wants, but then when he does what he wants pity and whatever. Damon needs therapy. All of them need therapy. Again, this episode is brought to you by therapy or the lack thereof. I don't even really want to talk about this anymore. They really just chatted. The Rhaenyra's small council kind of wanted her to go hide so they could plan and plot her war, and she just wasn't having it. I don't really know why they thought that would have went over well. It's because they're dumb and they think Rhaenyra's dumb, but she's not dumb. So Rhaenys had to get them in check, dropping a cute little history lesson. She was like, Rhaenyra wears the crown of my grandsire, Jaehaerys the Conciliator, who had the longest reign in Targaryen history, even longer than Aegon the Conqueror's. So when she's trying to be smart and tactful and think about everything from both sides of the view, it's because she's trying to keep the realm together, not split apart. You want to know why though? Because she know the sun got ice and fire, and that's the truth tea. That's the truth tea. So she know deeper stuff than Aegon the usurper, Aegon the idiot, Aegon the ogre, Aegon the clueless, Aegon the useless. So now we're in high tide, and Rhaenys and Corlys just gossiping about court for real. They the only couples who bring me joy in this show. And the main point of this conversation was they were talking about kind of the succession and the heir of Dragonstone, because right now it's Joffrey, one of Rhaenyra's kids, and they're talking about Rhaena as well. That's who Rhaenys wants to be the Lord or Lady of Dragons. I mean, not of Dragonstone, of High Tide. But Corlys has a problem with this. He's like, they don't know anything of the sea, and Rhaena doesn't even have a dragon. But it's like, neither did Luke. Luke didn't know how to sail no ship. That was one of his biggest points, why he didn't really feel like he was supposed to be the High Lord of the Tides, because he can't sail no ship. So it don't matter that Luke can't sail no ship, but Rhaena and Joffrey can't sail no ship, and it's just like, oh. And we're back at Dragonstone. This is actually when they show Rhaena getting the 4 dragon eggs and they say goodbye to the babies. I just talked about it earlier to make the video easier. It was 4 dragon eggs and 3 Targaryen babies that were entrusted with Rhaena. And we're back at King's Landing. Alicent and Helena are talking about Helena's grief and her feelings about her baby dying. Like, let my girl grieve. But see, it's kind of the difference, because Alicent is a good mother, I believe, or she tries to her best to be a good mother to Helena. But that time she walked past Aegon just crying, it was so funny, because to be honest, I want to know how that conversation would have even played out. It probably would have ended with Alicent calling Aegon an idiot, because he is one. So Helena's actually really good. She's a good queen. I love Helena. Helena the sweetest person there. And Helena was talking about during the funeral, she was thinking like the small folk probably think that she doesn't have more right to grief than they do, because she was sure that, like, I'm sure small folk do lose more babies than some highborn lady. It's probably some small folks who done lost 3, 4, 5 kids. But we have her hysterics all on display because she's the queen. But what truly separates the queen from small folk, other than being born into a different family? And we see Aegon getting suited with the armor of Aegon the Conqueror. It's Valyrian steel armor, because he's convinced he's going to go ride out on a dragon and meet up with Sir Criston Cole, the idiot. And the armor really looks ill-fitting on him. To be honest, the armor looks like he's a little kid playing dress up. It looks like he's playing pretend. It looks like he's playing pretend king. He's playing in the one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Targaryen in the dynasty, playing in his old clothes. He playing in his old clothes. He wear his old crown. He wear his sword. To be honest, he got his name. He wanna be the conqueror so bad, but he's an idiot and he's useless. And Larys comes in and he plot seeds in Aegon's mind. He goes, some people think it's a good idea for you to fly out, while other people think it's because Alicent and the rest of the council tricked you so they could plan and rule your kingdom in your stead. And Aegon didn't like that, so now he don't want to fly. But I thought he was fearsome. See the see what I mean? You fearsome, but you're not about to go fly on this dragon because some rumors in the castle. If anything, him saying it make him look like a punk. He should have flew out on that dragon. Now we're still in King's Landing, and we see this guy Ulf. I feel like we followed him a couple episodes. Ulf is at a tavern saying he's a dragon seed, that he's a Targaryen bastard. He just doesn't have the silver hair, but that doesn't stop him from saying that the rightful heir to the throne is Jace, and that Rhaenyra is the true queen. And as soon as he says that Jacaerys Valerian is the rightful heir to the throne, Aegon busts into the tavern. And ooh, not Aegon, Ulf looks scared. He shut up too. And Aegon, kind of being smart, he does a pro gamer moves and buys the whole tavern around on the crown. So you ask me, I'm some small folk, and say I'm Ulf, or I'm somebody else who believes that Rhaenyra is the true queen, which she rightfully is. But Aegon comes in, that is a wasp, and I hope it doesn't come bother me. Oh, I just did a Joe Biden blank stare. What's going on in my brain? I wonder what Joe Biden be thinking when he do them blank stares. Like, what's really going on? What's really going on? Aegon got a Joe Biden blank stare. We need to start calling him Sleepy Aegon. Yeah, but imagine you're a small folk and you believe that Rhaenyra is the rightful queen, but the king come in and he fires some shots. I mean, I'm not saying that would have brought my loyalty so fast, but it just might have. Aegon goes through the bar to the tavern, and he moves into a brothel to find a sex worker to have sex with one of his squires. And when he finds the person he's looking for, Aemon is in there laying with her, like literally just laying down, but he butt naked. And Aegon clowns Aemon so bad. He clowned that boy so bad. Just he fired on him. Just keep keying. He had the time of his life at his brother's expense. And it probably reminded Aemon of being bullied as a little kid. Which is kind of sad, but again, therapy. We're back to Dragonstone. Didn't much happen in Dragonstone. Rhaenyra kept and read alicent letter. You know, they just gay. They just so gay. Then we're back with Kristen Cole on the march. And Gwaine Hightower, he done splintered off from the party with a few of his lackeys, probably his gay buddies, and they finna have an orgy in the end. But they were looking for an end, because you do got to think about it. Gwaine just came from Old Town, so he just marched all the way from the bottom of Westeros to King's Landing, and then is going to march again. So he could be a little tired, and he wants a night of comfort. So it ain't nothing too wrong with that. But while they were talking, Kristen looked up in the sky, and he see a dragon. He like, we've been exposed, and they start taking off. And then this is when the camera shifts to Baela on, I believe her dragon is Moondancer, and it shows them Moondancer kind of like calls out to Baela. It kind of like screeches and points its head, kind of like points to look over there. And when she does, she sees Kristen and some more people, so she fly down, and they racing. She on the dragon barreling out the sky, and they on the horses. They getting it. But they make it to the forest, and Baela doesn't burn it all down. When I wanted Baela to start a forest fire, to be honest, them people was hiding under the forest like they was gonna save them. Like, it's literally not a fire breathing dragon. What mix this fire and wood make? a bigger fire. So, sorry to Smokey the Bear. I know only you can prevent forest fires, but Bela could have killed Kristen Cole. And I fear what's more important, the environment or Sir Kristen Cole dying? I don't know. So we're back at Dragonstone. Dragonstone, it's just a small council. They plotting Sir Kristen Cole's movements and what they should do. They're saying though that Rhaenyra is kind of running out of time and they need to start making their first move on war. Which, to be honest, they do. Because Rhaenyra, you are running out of time. You keep trying to sue and vie for peace, and she's the only person. Her and Alicent are probably the only people who want peace. But it's going to take more than her and Alicent to get the whole realm to stand down. Alright, and we're at Harrenhal, and Harrenhal is really spooky ooky. Like, Daemon got a kind of mystical plot going on right now. But we see him in Harrenhal. He's in his room. The room looks old and dirty and dusty. It really doesn't look like it's an enjoyable place to stay. But maybe he'll fix it up over his tenure in Harrenhal, because we never know when he's invited back to Dragonstone. But Daemon, he locked that door with the sword. He put his sword through the handles, and it was a good thing he did that, because somebody tried to bust into his room. I think it was jingling at the door. But when they stopped jingling at the door and walked away, he grabbed his other sword and looked around, and he didn't find nobody. So he eventually, he walked out. He did not find anybody. He didn't find somebody who was jangling at the door. He had a vision of young Rhaenyra sewing together the little baby Jaehaerys' head back on. Talking about, oh, you always leave me to clean up your messes, which he kind of does. And then he walked out of there and went to the Godswood. It kind of looked like he was teleported to the Godswood. I don't really know how to explain this scene. But he was in the Godswood looking around, and there was some creepy lady in there. I'm telling you, mystical, spooky ooky. And she go, "You're going to die in this place." And just disappear. The lady was dressed in all black. Her hair was black. I think she had on black lipstick too. I was wondering where she got the lipstick from. Then we go to Dragonstone, and Rhaenyra is talking to the spider lady. She's asking, like, what movements do you know? Like, do you know about Alicent's whereabouts? And the spider lady, like, oh, are you gonna take her as a hostage, or are you gonna kill her? She like, oh, I just want to talk. That's her problem. She talked too much. Want to talk, and the spider lady is like, hey, I fear it'll be easier to kill her outright. But then we cut from Dragonstone to seeing Rhaenyra dressed like a Septa in King's Landing. And she walks into the sept, and Alicent is at this big table with the candles by herself praying. And Rhaenyra goes right next to her. And you can see before Alicent realizes who just sat next to her, she shot them a nasty look. Because to be honest, I would have done the same thing. Because this whole table, this big old table, it was a nice size table. Like, it was a big table. This whole table is empty. Yet you come kneel by me. What you want? And then you hear, I guess Rhaenyra pull out a blade, a knife. And Alicent like, oh! But then realizes that it's Rhaenyra, and now we have bigger questions. Not only do we have bigger questions, but we see Alicent, she's kind of like gagged. Because what is Rhaenyra doing here? How you get here? How did nobody catch you? I think with the dagger, she was like, oh, what are you going to do? Kill me? Or no, she was like, what if I alert the guards? She was like, they'd come and kill me, but not before I killed you. I thought that was funny. Because it's like, hey, if I'm going out, I'm definitely going to take you with me. If your rat head son finna win, you gonna die. But Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra really, I think she really came to get clarity on like why Alicent thinks Aegon is the rightful king. So Rhaenyra clocks that tea about Viserys literally all of Rhaenyra's life after I think after her mama died, and especially after he disinherited Daemon. Rhaenyra has been the heir. She had all of those lords and lights and ladies swear fealty to her. She was at the small council. She was the what, the cupbearer. She the heir. She lived in Dragonstone. That's where the heir's supposed to live. And like all of her life, Viserys was putting her up to be the heir. So why would it change all of a sudden on his deathbed with Alicent, the mother of the child, who he seemingly changed his mind about being the king? That is suspicious. Because what do you mean he changed his mind about Rhaenyra being the heir and that it should be Aegon? He said this on his deathbed with his dying breath to the mother of the child who was going to be the new king. That's Alicent's story, and she's sticking to it. Like, this, it's peculiar. It's peculiar to me. But then Alicent goes, he spoke Aegon's name. This when it gets juicy. Rhaenyra goes, she said his name, not just his name, but she was like that he was the prince that was promised. And this is when Rhaenyra jumps up. She's like, wait, he used those words exactly? The prince that was promised? And she was like, yeah. And this is when Rhaenyra breaks it down to her. Like, that's the Song of Ice and Fire. It's a story about Aegon the Conqueror. It was Aegon the Conqueror, not Aegon the idiot. How, that's just so funny to me. Because you can really see Alicent realize that she's a rattle brain. She's a rattle brain. She's a dummy. She's an idiot. She just wanted it to be Aegon so bad. She wanted her son to be the king. You know what? I don't even think she truly wanted him to be king. That's just, to be honest, I would have thought the same thing if I were her. Because nobody knows about the Song of Ice and Fire. Only the heir and the king really know. But she's just so dumb, so ditzy. She was just so gullible to believe that her son was meant to be the king. Anyways, but the conversation was far too late to be had to do anything about it. Kristen Cole already on the move. Daemon done claimed Harrenhal. The Brackens and the Blackwoods done slaughtered each other. Luke dead. The baby Jaehaerys dead. So it's nothing they can really do now to call the dogs off. Maybe if they had that conversation 2 weeks ago. If you hear that beeping, somebody's car just went off. But I'm about to wrap this video up. I give the Burning Meal, to be honest, I don't really want to rate the Burning Meal until I see the next episode, because I feel like the Burning Meal was preamble to whatever happens next. It was some action in this episode, but it was a lot of talking. It felt like it was more of a build up than the standalone itself. So I'll give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It was no. Simply off of how it started and ended, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Because Alicent being a rattle brain confirmed, and the Burning Meal was crazy. So yeah, that was my take on season 2, episode 3, The Burning Meal of House of the Dragon.